if I've told you this, but on a regular basis, I get messages that come through on my phone from YouTube from my old, they're not really that old, my flight attendant videos, because I used to tell a lot of flight attendant stories, and then all of a sudden I just stopped. Well, I didn't really mean to stop just like that, but I guess as life changed, my content also changed naturally. It meant that a lot of questions are still sort of like lingering around unanswered, even though I know the answers. So I thought in today's episode, I'm going to tap into those questions. A lot of folks in here are subscribed to get to know what it's like to be a flight attendant and then transition out into a different career. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the 7 things that I've learned from being a flight attendant with Emirates. 7 things that I learned from being a flight attendant with Emirates. 1. Patience is everything. Patience, patience, patience. I've learned a lot about patience in my current life, which is being a business owner, but the value of patience, I would say, sharpened up a little bit when I was a flight attendant with Emirates. Why do I say that? If you've seen my other stories about being a flight attendant and what it's like to actually work in that space amongst a lot of people at all times, and there's nowhere to go, and your job is to actually provide a service and a product and OPS, make sure everyone's not dying. So when I think about that space, it's actually quite an intensive workspace. In order to actually keep your sanity, in that particular role, you just got to be patient and understand that there are going to be a lot of times that you don't understand someone or someone doesn't understand you, whether it's your way of working, whether it's the message that you're trying to say. That said, what will keep you sane is understanding that that is the case. Be patient with people, be patient with time, patience in the process, patience in the structure, patience with people, patience and actual medical patience. Number 2, attention to detail increases value. Did you see that coming? The reason I mention it is this. I have a video up here called Emirates Grooming Standards, and whoa, the responses are kind of like full on. It's one of my highest ranking videos. I don't know how many views it has now, but last I checked it was over 800,000 views, and the content actually either people love or grinds people's gears. Why? The amount of detail that I talked about the Emirates grooming standards, some people found it a little bit much, but let me tell you this, that attention to detail is what makes Emirates quite a premium airline to travel with. Some people may beg to differ. In general, Emirates has a pretty good ranking in the space of aviation. That's because of the standards that are placed on the flight attendants, in the service and in the product. The reason I say this is because when I was working at Emirates, you'd have little things like how to face the napkin. Do you face the napkin with the logo facing the customer? Just everything had a lot of attention to it, and people would get marked down or marked up for that. Some people didn't really agree with it. I was just neither here nor there. I just followed the rules. So if you tell me to put the logo facing up, I'll put the logo facing up. And it was just something that I did that I didn't really think about. Being a business owner myself, I see and I appreciate the value of that, because other companies which are not that premium don't do that, and that's why people pay the extra money. Number 3, lessons. Oh, I wrote this down. Lessons come not from theory but life experiences. Ooh, what a juicy topic. Let me frame this one up a little bit. With Emirates, you get people from all different qualifications and all different work histories. So I had flown with people who just graduated, and I'd also flown with an archaeologist and a dentist and an accountant. I flew with people who had a profession, as well as people who hadn't had any work experience. That's the fact. One of the common conversations was that some of the folks who like jobs which give them a lot of intellectual stimulation, they found it quite dissatisfying working in a job that was so labor intensive, because everything that you do there is textbook. Safety measures, the way that you serve, everything is given by textbook, but there's nothing to really challenge your mind unless it's an interpersonal kind of thing. I mean, you're not going to sit there and try to work out algebra. What it does harness, it actually harnesses a soft skill. A soft skill is a skill that can't be taught by general theory. A soft skill is a skill that you hone from within, which involves some sort of emotional intelligence and also interpersonality, the way in which you deal with humans, the way in which you communicate, the way in which you tune into your intuition. Those are soft skills. So this particular job, while on the surface it kind of looks satisfying from the mental or intellectual perspective, it does hone a lot of those interpersonal skills, the things that you can't just learn. Those things for me were, I gotta say, even more valuable than the theory that you learn with anything, because having stepped away from that job where that was my job, and I'm now in marketing, and I now also have to understand what will sell my clients' services or products in the social media space. One thing is very, very clear. People buy into people first before they buy the service or the product. So if you're a cabin crew and you have aspirations of having your own business, running your own clinic, being a freelance creative, whatever it is, the main thing that you can really get out of this job, other than your attention to detail and whatever, is those interpersonal skills. Take advantage of the environment that you're in, because it's those, when you have your own business and you know how to be a personable person and you provide good service with attention to detail, when you complete a project for a client, that you send them a thank you gift, it's those things that will actually keep your business flowing later on. Number 4, humans. People are all the same, irrespective of our color, irrespective of the way we talk, irrespective of our stance or class in society. We all have the same needs and wants. I guess this is the one thing, when you're on a plane, you'll see that people only care about a couple of things. The base requirement is sleep and food, those 2 things. Whether you travel in economy or in first class, if you get the sleep and you get the food, then everything is good. Oh, this is kind of like a trip down memory lane. What I really loved is that there were some times that I traveled to a country where I didn't speak the language and I got lost and I didn't know how to explain what I wanted. And irrespective of what I look like, irrespective of my relationship to the people there, I always found a person who would help me. The truth is, I'm completely driven by my capacity to help or give where I can, as much as I can. Having traveled the world kind of gave me an insight to the fact that that's what most humans really want to do. It makes you see humans on a different level. We're all the same. No one is greater than the other. It's given me a different level of confidence, I guess, because I know that if I can understand a human, then I can stand anyone, rich or poor, black or white or yellow, whatever. I used to have this complex where I think that people with higher job positions were intimidating and that I needed to impress them, and if I were to present it to them in a meeting, then I would get scared. But I realized that those people are also people, and they turn to other people, maybe like me, because of an expertise that I have. Number 5, in this day and age, travel is a lot more accessible than it used to be, and I gotta say, it is a very important aspect to life. So if you have the opportunity to travel, do it. Why? Because it plucks you from your everyday. Not to say that your everyday is something to run away from, but traveling does give you perspective, because you do meet other humans. You get to see how other people live. You get to taste different flavors that might not be available where you are. It also puts important things in perspective. If you're always in the same space, our heads can get very, I don't know, in that space. Everything that we care about is related to that one specific space and relative to what that specific space needs to thrive. But then when you remove yourself from that situation and go somewhere and meet people and see what their space is like, it puts things in perspective. Number 6, don't ignore the signs of your body. The reason I say this is because I really struggled with fatigue. I really did. I'm pretty sure it was one of the reasons I started to experience anxiety. When I was flying, I used to exercise a lot and I would eat relatively well. I kind of felt like I'm exercising, I'm eating pretty well. You would think that I was primed to have just the perfect health, but no, I was sleep deprived, and therefore I think some things changed in my body, my hormones, and I was cranky, I was very irritable, I started changing, and my changes weren't outward, they were all internal, because I'm a nice person, I'm a good person, so I would never mean any harm to other people or anything like that, but it was just more of a struggle to want to be around people. It was more of a struggle to want to make more friends. It was a struggle to want to meet people, and that was a result, I believe, of the chemistry in my body being affected by my lack of sleep. That's my diagnosis though. I was never really diagnosed with anxiety or depression, but when I look at it now, right now I'm in a very healthy mind state, and I worked on this on my own. I never went to see a doctor or anything like that. I just really tuned in to who I was becoming, how I was becoming, and I saw the need to change. All I know is that something was up with my body and I ignored it and I felt crap. Last last but not the least, this one's a nice light one. Always carry some sort of a spare outfit in your carry-on. When you're traveling, if you are going somewhere important and in that place you've got a special outfit, take that outfit in your carry-on, because if that event that you're attending is tomorrow and then your suitcase didn't arrive, the last thing that you want to do is be stressed about that outfit. I guess maybe I have this fear of having my suitcase lost, and I've heard of the experiences of people who just didn't have a suitcase and now they don't have an outfit, blah blah blah, and I just think to myself, make that space in your carry-on extra handy by packing that thing that you need. So those are the 7 things that I learned from being a flight attendant with Emirates. I hope that answers some of your questions. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any comments or questions, please pop them in the comments section down below. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. See you next week. Bye. What I'm trying to say here is that, what am I trying to say? Oh, come on here. Get your game up. Get your game up.